Hello and welcome to this construction domain session as part of the buildingSMART International Standards Summit, Valencia 2024. Thank you for joining. My name is Laura and I will be your moderator today. Today's session is titled UCM in the Construction Industry. The speakers for this session are Endo, Konstantinos Kessoudis, and Wilfred van Woudenberg. This session is scheduled to last 19 minutes, including time for questions at the end. The session is being recorded and will be made available in the replay section of the event as soon as possible. Before I hand over to the speaker, I would like to remind you that this is a hybrid event. For online attendee, your microphone will remain muted for the duration of the session. If you wish to make comments or ask questions, please use the chat box in the control panel. For the attendees here in the room, please keep the background noise to a minimum. And if you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please raise your hand and use a microphone. I would like to bring your attention that buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process for their adoption is transparent, and standards that are developed do not favor any particular provider and are open, non-binding, and accessible to all. Please take note of our antitrust code of conduct, and I would like to hand over to Ken.
Hi, how are you today? Are you okay? I guess many of you are very tired, but please be relaxed and then join the conversation. This session is just for discussion. So the UCMS is the kind of buzzword now in BSI, and many of the person or the domain leader think about use case management and then what the use case is. And then many of you are working and have some role in the activity of the local chapter. And then I guess many of you are thinking about how to share your experience of BIM to the local chapter. So I guess it's just a starting point, but it's a good chance to think the very base from the very fundamental concept and what the UCMS should be in the future. So from at the beginning, I want to hear, I suppose that there are three types of people here. And one is the site manager who has a responsibility to BIM project itself. And another person is some IT person, practitioner level person, who has a responsibility to select a BIM software and then CDE to the whole company. And another person that I suppose is the software vendor who want to know what's the workflow and the data flow is inside and the construction company. So could you raise your hand when I say that three categories? So yeah, please raise your hand if you are the site manager who has responsibility to BIM project. No one, okay. And then next one is BIM manager who has a responsibility of software and then CDE in your company. Yeah, raise your hand. Yes, 1, 2. And I am the person of the BIM IT in Kajima. So yeah, and the third one, the software vendor developer. Please raise your hand. Oh, I see. I see. Okay, thank you very much. I'm not sure rest, but it's okay. So I want to continue my presentation. So yeah, so I feel there's some need for UCMS. And then many of you also feel it is necessary. But if I ask you why you need UCMS? It's a very complicated question. And why is another buzzword in this conference? Many of you or presenters says why. But anyhow, I want to clarify why UCMS is required in this stage, in this session. So, yes, and then after this session, I hope you can understand why the UCMS is necessary. So let's start my presentation. Oh, this one, okay. So first slide, this one is the purpose of use case management. It's it's buildingSMART International web page, one of web page. And then have you ever been to this web page? Please raise your hand. 3 of you, or 4 of you, yes. And I hope that you will access to this web page. And it's quite simple web page. And then there's the now more than 100 use cases registered on this web page. So if you have time, you will click every contents registered on UCM, and then you can find out what it is now on the UCMS. And then when I access to this web page the first time, I feel not satisfied. And then I start to think about what the UCMS should be. It was around 2 years ago. So that's my question. And then when I continue to run this construction domain room, it's 8th year from the beginning of this domain. But we normally handled any of the use cases of BIM project, especially some experience in the site in the construction phase. So we construction rooms should have some kind of proposal to the buildingSMART International, and then under this steering committee of the construction domain, we discuss every month, and then try to post some kind of proposal in the future. And now the result of the use case management, it's on the web page of buildingSMART use case management page. And this one is written by Swiss chapter person, because the Swiss chapter is very eager to run the UCMS and start this website. And later on, buildingSMART International authorized this system officially. And buildingSMART, it's under buildingSMART, but run and administrated by a Swiss chapter at this moment. So what they are thinking is here. And I want to read some highlight position. So result of use case system, it means the objective of use case system should define the information, exchange requirements, and link them to the IFC schema. And the next highlight part, UCMS provide a base for a model view definition. And UCMS are neutrally formulated and based on the open BIM approach from buildingSMART International. So those highlighted 3 lines is the abbreviation of this the comment. But you can find the purpose is the clarified information delivery manual, IDM. And it should be on the open BIM approach. So it's very straightforward and understandable. But if you want to create the MVD, we need much more use cases. And then still, there are only 100 or 150 use cases. So why there are not many use cases on that website is the first question. And I think it's quite difficult to show off your project data, your experience directly to the website is my answer. Because there are very many secret data of project on BIM and project itself. In some cases, it's some national project or the nuclear power project. So if you conduct any good BIM project, but you can't share all those experience and information to the public, it's normal. That's why use case management is necessary, but not many the contents are registered on that site. It's my analysis. So I wanna go to ChatGPT and ask this question. What is the use case management in ISO? And then it generates this answer within a minute. And then there are 5 answers. And it says, or it can expand my explanation, my imagine of use case. Next one, use case management ISO, yes. And then this one is the answer. I want to read this highlighted comment. And the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, has defined use case management, UCM, in ISO, IEC, IEEE 29148. And according to ISO 29148, UCM encompasses the following activities. And there are 8 activities. 5 activities here. First one, identification and selection of relevant use cases. Use cases represent the interaction between actors and the system, capturing the function requirement of system. That's very straightforward. And the next one is also straightforward. UCMS has function activities such as documentation and specification of use cases. This involves documenting and specifying the use cases in a standardized format. It's quite easy to understand. But from 3 to 5, it's new for me, and I guess it's new for you also. So UCMS has the validation and the verification. And this involves validating and verifying the use cases to ensure their correctness and completeness. It's very new. So not only the showing you the document, but some kind of validation of the correctness should be provided by the UCM. And the next one, 4, traceability and impact analysis of use cases. This involves establishing traceability, links between use cases and other artifacts, such as requirements, design elements, and test cases. So it's not static. You can add some information afterwards to that document and post its information. So that kind of function should be installed into the UCM. And number 5, evaluation and maintenance of use cases. This involves managing changes to use cases over time, including updating, refining, and enhancing use case documents as needed. It's also very straightforward, understandable. So if you post the document and then some kind of update happen that you want to update the data on the database. So that kind of thing happen and then the data should be updated, the freshly, is the ideal type of the UCM in ISO. So next question to ChatGPT was this one. What is use case management service? So first question I posted, now what is use case management, UCM? So in ISO, but this time add service. And then I want to define now what's the function that is should be on UCMS. And then ChatGPT answered within the minutes like this. Use case management service. Sometimes we say the management system, but it's not the problem. So UCMS allows team to create, document, track, and collaborate on use cases throughout the development life cycle. Yes, it's UCMS is not only for a construction project, but mainly for developing software. So it says throughout the development life cycle, but we can replace this development to the construction cycle or building life cycle. So it says we can create a document on UCMS system and collaborate someone else on that UCMS system. Is the definition of UCMS. And it includes 8 functions. First one is use case repository. And second, the use case creation editing. Third one is use case versioning. And fourth one is collaboration and communication. And the fifth one is requirements traceability. And 6, test case generation. And 7, the reporting and analysis, analytics. 8, integration with development tools. And UCMS service provides the comprehensive solution for managing use cases, promoting effective communication, and ensuring that the developed software meets the intended user requirements. So all those 8 functions should be installed into the BSI UCMS. Is anyhow the answer by ChatGPT. I'm not sure it's the truth, but anyhow, it's the starting point of discussion. So let's go to the next slide. So, and then what's the use case? And I want to categorize it to the stage 1, 2, 3. And the first one, UCMS 1.0, I define its manage or store the static data. And then it's like bookshelf. And then if you put some kind of use case of blah, 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 and then you can get this kind of information. And It's like a booklet. So the books of case studies are use case, but it's static data. So it's included in use case 1.0. So if it is in the catalog or digital pamphlet, it's also static data. Someone is in the bookshelf and something is on the website. But if you download and open, and you can't edit or collaborate with it with someone else. So that's all UCM 1.0. And this one, sorry. So this kind of digital catalog also is the use case, good use case, but it's the static data. So it's included in UCM 1.0. And what we have been doing in this domain is it's the creating this kind of data model of the construction. And it is the software ecosystem map I showed you several times in this the buildingSMART session. And my past idea of the use case management is the sharing this kind of software ecosystem. Was my idea, but it is still the static data. So it is a kind of UCM 1.0. So we should think about next generation, or we should think in the future what UCMS should be. So next one is not my proposal, but our domain, the steering committee's consensus, I guess, we received, I guess. But here's the Belko, software vendor CEO, and then Konstantinos also, and George. So 4 of us discussed several times, and it's one of the answer and the proposal to BSI. So we categorize it to the 3 levels, as I said. And the first one is the managing just the static data. So what's next? What's the 2.0? And what's next one, the 3.0? And I guess that we are still in 1.0 and middle of 1.0 or 2.0. But UCMS 2.0 should have some function of creating and also referring the data, and some function of communication and analytics. And right-hand side, there is the orange zone area, and there's some function name. So the 2.0 should have some communication like SNS or the BBS, the forum, and some the data with text and multimedia. And of course, it should be handled by many devices like this one or PC. So it's the beginning of the 2.0, but the later 2.0 to 3.0, we should think about some kind of interaction with the system or person. So online testing. It means not like the testing of the skill of IFC, but its testing is some data set testing. So what we want to do with the UCMS is managing the data, BIM data is the first one. And second one is managing data flow or working process. So process management and data management is two big the objectives we want to do the UCMS. So for the data management, we want to have some kind of the simulation and testing tool to make it sure it's the truth data or true IFC data. And other function we want to have is some customization of your use cases or some good information or the requested information for the future project should be generated by this UCMS system. So this kind of the three categories we suppose, and then go on to the next slide. And now we have some tools of the BSI in this category. Base of them is, of course, IFC. And then now the IFC version 5 is prepared to the release. And then the IFC itself are changing, of course. So 2x3 and version 5 is very different. And then the version 5 is much more dynamic and then useful via internet. But still, IFC is schema and data format. So it's the static data. So handling IFC with a BSDD, IDM, MVD is the next stage. All those tools are relatively old tools in the BSI. And it's still under development, but we gradually understand how to use them. And next red category, there are another 4 tools, IDS, and the validation service, and OpenCD API, and BSI GitHub. Many of you who attended the BSI Summit meeting heard those kind of new technology last few years. So IDS is very new, and the validation service, technical director Van der Leeuw showed us last year. And the OpenCD API is very booming, and many vendors migrate this OpenCD API and share those accessing method on the website. So, and think about how they are integrated onto UCMS is the new my proposal in this session. For example, the BSDD is very old, and it's the buildingSMART data dictionary. So seems it's the static data, but now you can access from API. So BSDD has this kind of dictionary API. So many software vendor, migrate, implement this system, and then import some data from BSDD realized at this moment. So those kind of some dynamic system are one of the two of my integrated UCM system. Oh, sorry. This one. And the next IDS is the new standards. And also within a few years, there are many software implementing IDS checker into their software. Yeah, and then IDS will have the role to filtering the data from outside. So it's the very dynamic system used, and then it's a kind of the service included in UCMS. And next one is the validation service. It's very new, and then if you upload it to the BSI validation service site, you can check against IUC standard, and then get some signal, the OK passed or not passed. And next one is OpenCD API. It's very popular, so I want to skip in this session. And the last one is BS GitHub. It's not so popular, but if you want to get the information about IDS, it's a very good site. And then you can have the very good sample how to create IDS file. And then there's some good explanation document on it. And GitHub is very popular in developing software. And it has the function to uploading or updating and fixing the bug, and then share the updated document and then the program. So my concept of integrated UCMS is like this. There will be some document management functions, and one another big function is process management system. So left-hand side is some chart of data, ER, the connection diagram. And the right-hand side is some kind of picture showing actor and system, how they work together. And if you fit it to software and data flow management, the image of integrated UCMS is like this. And this one, I guess some person who play guitar, no, it's some amplifier or plug-in box gadget. And then all those are linked to create some new sound. And all those module is under the MIDI standard. Have you ever heard the MIDI? MIDI is the music standard. It stands for musical instrument digital interface. So all those, the plug and play or the cable are the standardized under MIDI standard. And if you play guitar and then connect all those modules, and then you can get some output. It's the image of integrated UCMS. So I want to explain a little bit more why it is like the integrated UCMS. It's if you are the system developer, you want to define what's the input and output of the system. So first of all, you are thinking about input of data, what it is. So in this case, the guitar is the input, the sound of guitar. And if you are a developer of a system, you should think about the output of the system. So this is a sound. New sound is the output in this case. So if you adapt it to the BSI and the BIM, you want to gathering some data and input it to the system and get some proper BIM data or project data for output. And then through the process, you will use some kind of filter and some modules which generate data or filtering data. So it means IDS is some kind of generation of data, and BSDD is generation of data, and IDS is a filter of data. So, for example, if you create some kind of material database to calculate CO2, you will connect to some database outside and get all those information through OpenCDE API. So all those modules are defined and are credited under BSI standard. But how it depends on how you connect all those systems and create ecosystem. And it depends on the connection, the filter. So it's the image of the input and output. All those are under the standard types. But how you connect and the output is quite different. So all those kind of the experimental connection data should be referred and then shared by the UCMS, is my opinion. So last one. So here's the BSI strategic roadmap. And then there are some tools, left-hand side, IDS, BSDD, and the validation, API, and IFC. All those, the version is updating year by year. But we should think about how we could combine all those technologies to get good way to run site management. So the bottom, there's some comment, process, certification, and the ecosystem should be the area of the UCMS. So what we are thinking about is combining all those standardization, like this guitar module, and how to create some your specific output is the bottom one. So certification of the ecosystem. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for hearing. So next time is the Konstantinos, and he will give us some example and discussion with the end quote. So please start, Konstantinos.
Yeah, before we start, maybe you have any question directly to the presentation of Ken. And in the end, we can have the discussion about use cases in general. So we'll give you a chance to ask maybe direct questions coming out of Ken's presentation. If there is no, I want to emphasize that the common, now starting presentation is a presentation of ENCORD, which is the European Network of Construction Companies in Research and Development. And I would like to ask my colleague Wilfred van Woudenberg to start with. Wilfred, can you hear us? And can you start by telling something about you?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. From the Netherlands, rainy weather, so I hope you have perfect weather in Valencia. Sorry I cannot join you. I work for a construction company called BAM, active in the Netherlands and UK. Anchored is a network where we get a lot of inspiration from. And there I'm leading a working group called Digital Built Environment. We did it since the year 2000. And I think we need to do something beyond exchanging all those best practices, and that's why we are here. We think the use case management is a key topic to solve. Can I continue? Do you also do an introduction, Kostas?
Yeah, of course. So Konstantinos Kessoudis, I am here in two roles. I am also a member of Encode, so I'm representing my company, which is Strabag, and Sublin, so I think number 10 in construction worldwide. Within Encode, so I am also in the council of, member of the council of Encode, and I'm in the double role of being also in buildingSMART, involved in the steering committee, construction, and rail. But let's start with Encode, about who we are. So your turn, Wilfred.
Yeah. So maybe a short introduction. Encode, here you see the members on the right. It's an interesting mix of huge European construction companies, some very interesting suppliers, but also software vendors. So it's an interesting group. It's all about sharing knowledge, providing each other information, and also setting R&D priorities. And then there's different audiences. That's internally our decision makers, and of course the experts. And there are several working groups active in this organization. And I think Encode exists for about 30 years at this moment. Maybe next slide. Here you see the working groups, quite, well, I think these are the relevant topics at this moment. There's sustainability, foresighting, health and safety, lean. You see the deliverables or common aims there. And we are active in that digital built environment group, active members, and beyond exchanging what we are. Sometimes I know better what the Strabag company is doing than I know for my own company. So there's a lot of open and active exchange. But at some point, after 20 years of exchange, it's all the same. It becomes a little bit boring. The topic is getting bigger. And there's always, you can always complain about things that are not still not working. So we also decided we need to do something. I really advise you to have a look at the DigiPlace project. It's a European support and coordination project in the also to give direction to upcoming R&D projects. And I think there a lot of relevant associations actually did sit together and made very clear what is needed to make our sector more effective, more intelligent, and to face all the challenges. And I would really have a look at the reference architecture that was there, also with BS buildingSMART contribution, of course. But I think also in that project, we already mentioned from the Encode perspective, the relevance of use case management. And to look back at the former presentation by Ken, if we continue like this, the sound or the music coming from the guitar will be horrible. You will get a headache. There's really something fundamental to be done. Back to the Encode presentation. Members, these are the benefits. It's a network. You can compare, you can benchmark items, you recognize trends, but especially also the influencing part. But then you have to do something and be active, otherwise these networks do not work. And I think we did some pretty good stuff on this topic. So use case management, last 1.5 years, active members worked on a common ground and actually really sit together and made clear why use case management is maybe the most relevant thing to do at this moment. we compare it with the Tower of Babel. Maybe one slide back. We are working on all kind of fancy things. But if we continue like this, we won't be able to finish that tower. We will fall in the same trap. So we are heavily digitizing at this moment. All those companies are. And we really start to realize the common definitions are really needed. And the digital use cases are actually, they are a key thing to be addressed over the entire life cycle. And we really start to realize there is no standardization in naming, structuring, and describing these use cases. Actually, there's not even a definition what is a use case. And then we continue with the Tower of Babel. We actually see this on our projects. So each project, we do the puzzle, what should we do in a digital way with different partners, etc. And we have to work on all the digital adoption, and we have to specify the specific exchange requirements, blah, blah, blah. It's epic waste of energy to do that over and over again. And then per use case, once we found out what it means, describe the roles and responsibilities and test the systems and read epic waste. And we also found out that all these companies, the Ferrovials, the Hoogtiefs, the Strabaks, we have almost very, very similar use case definitions in our companies. Strabag has 150 use cases, BAM has 150 use cases. Ask the language models to compare and to make an analysis. Maybe 90% is exactly the same. And you can also describe it in a generic way. It's not actually a comparative thing. And on the project sites, we also work together. So why do we continue making those use case lists on our own and do that on an individual base? There's actually also no coordination on that. You will actually see it if you go to the use case management server at this moment, scroll through all the use cases, and try to imagine what kind of music you will get if you try to connect those use cases as they are now together for a project. It doesn't work. We worked on the position. We clarified the benefits. So we also have to do it internally. Yeah? I have to go to my boss and explain it's really, really important to start doing this together. We listed the benefits, and there are clear recommendations for actions. We actually got those signatures from all our bosses or influential guys in these companies that use case management is a key thing to do. I don't know whether they realize how much work it will be, but it's a key thing to do. The position you can find on the Encode website. Now, Konstantinos will take you through much more details because making that position is quite easy. But now the details.
So thank you a lot, Wilfred, for this overview. So position paper 1 was to state us that yes, use cases are a very important component of digitalization in construction sector. And yes, we have to admit that we have a duty as construction industry to define what we want to be done in use cases. And use cases are very, very important if it comes to connect all stakeholders digitally. So latest, when we are on construction site, we have to connect a lot of different partners to work digital together. And if we are not able to digitalize the whole process chain, we will fail. So how to do that? And what are the details on a use case? What is the definition? This is part of our use case position paper 2.0, which is available from today online. So you can see that on the Encode website if you want to see it more in detail. So what is about this detailed position of use cases? So first of all, we sit together and define what is a use case. And the use case is a standardized description of a scope of work related to the project phase including the relevant stakeholders, associated digital input, associate output, and exchange requirements. So the process as well as the prerequisites to achieve a specific goal of the project. So the easy thing to discuss, to explain that is the use case is part of our contract. It's the digital, it's defining in our contract what we do in digital. What are the aims to do things digital? In addition to that, we have seen that by the moment, use case and solution are always mixed. A solution describes the project-specific or standard realization of a use case. So it's the fulfilling of what you have in your contract. So concrete approach is hereby defined. So a solution can be technology, software, method, or trade-specific. So a solution is not the use case. So the use case, to show it in pictures, is giving you a frame. So what is what you want to do in digital? The solution is filling out the frame. And use case and solution together is the result of fulfilling the contract. And to dive in a little bit more in detail, so I've prepared a small diagram to show you that. So you will see on the top level, you see the use case, which is public and per market defined. And there's a red line. The red line is the solution is beyond. The solution is internal per stakeholder. It's not subject to be exchanged. It's not subject to be public, because it's what everybody is doing in his company. But what is above the line is the shared stuff. And why we need that? So if we come back to this puzzle diagram, so a use case is the base for a contract. It's an end-passing BIM and other digital services. This is what we have to fulfill. The problem we face in construction industry, and everybody in his company, is that everybody of us has different solutions combined in somehow in an IT landscape. So solution A, B, C, D, E is fulfilling what we do in digital every day. So how these things are connected? So what is what we have to fulfill, and what is how we do that? So we thought about that we need abstraction levels which are practical or defining on practical stages and phases what we do in our digital contracts. So the upper level is the system level, addressing the top level goals. So the system engineering, so what the client wants. So this is the top level, what the client wants. The lowest level is easy to explain also. The lowest level is connecting directly to the solution, because this is what we promise, and this is how we do. These are connected. And in between, we need a level that is connecting the system level with the solution level, so it's comparable as we do also in all other things we do. For example, our work packages. So we deliver a price, but then of course we have a detailed breakdown structure to fulfill it. We have a due date, and we deliver also a plan how to schedule, how to realize the due date. So this is very comparable. So the next thing is that all the things we deliver have to be able to be connected, because it's all about processes. So if you want to do the things we do now digital, with the digital support, the digital means have to be able to interact together. So this is reflected in this schema. But then comes, of course, the connection to what's down. So what is that? How we connect that world? So it's the same thing as we do already now. So we get plans from the client. We get due dates from the client. We get specifications from the client. What we do is we download that, we bring it in our company, and we fill them out. And now we do that in digital. So we download the standard use cases and connect and use the standard use cases to configure our systems to fulfill what is in the contract. It's nothing different to what we do now, but it's expanded to the digital way of collaboration. So if you agree on that, we have to admit that it's nothing we should start from blank. It's already things we do. So it requires on the left side using existing feature definitions like BSTD others. So there are already existing classification systems, standards, whatever, which are usable to define, to get into the definition of use cases. And of course, it requires, when it comes to the solution, to use the software, to have guidelines how to use the software, to have process definition, how the software is used through the processes. And of course, the best of all is having templates for not inventing every time, configuring every time you need your software. So then you are fast. So if you agree on that, so okay, the use case is giving us our contractual frame, the last line of use case is directly connected to our solution. Then it's easy to follow the next path. So it delivers the information needs, input and output, what we are going to exchange digital due to our contract. Is it addressing directly responsibilities and processes? So who is doing what? So the others can be prepared how the others are interacting. And it's a clear definition of the quality of data we need through the processes. We already have that. So we already have that reflected in this AER documents. We have reflected that in this BEP documents. We have reflected it in guidelines, modeling guidelines, configuration solutions, whatever. What we do by the moment is we do that always by hand. So why not do the digital? So it's nothing very newly defined, but it's our position tries to put that all a little bit in the context and what we should do. So what is the impact to the market if we have use cases? So it's enabling, it's enhancing us existing analog collaboration towards universally accepted digital standards. So the old traditional way of working, so the last 1,000 years, we just transform them in digital. It's nothing spectacular, but it's needed. And it's a base, if we don't do that, but if we do that, it's a base for market digitalization. So we are able as construction market in total to get digitalized. What's the impact to the stakeholder? This is the impact to the market. The impact to the stakeholder, also to my company, is to ensure that our individual digital IT configurations work precisely for the market requirements. By the moment, we have always to adjust our solutions, digital solutions, to every project. And we as a company do 18,000 projects per year. So we can't do 18,000 different digitalizations per year. So that's not the way we want to work in digital. We want to do that in a way that we can connect our once found digital configuration to what we do in our market. So it enables digital collaboration in the company, but also with our best partners. So the problem is, this system will not come for itself. So we have to do something, we have to define something. So there's a common need for methodology. We have to define this system. So why? Because if we are developing a method to select, communicate, and apply digital use cases and solutions in construction industry, if we think that this is essential, therefore a common methodology is really needed. Otherwise, it will not come. But if we define that, we must address our needs in construction or aspects, which is like we have to align with our stakeholders' insights. We have to clarify project aim risks and use case impacts. And we have to embed use cases in project management and contracts. So here again, use case is the definition of our digital work in the future, or what we do now, in the contract. We have to respect, of course, the different legal frameworks which exist already, the project types and digital maturity levels, but that's business as we do already. And we have to think about how to do a methodology which enables us in the future to automate and make autonomous capabilities like platforms to orchestrate, plan, and detail use cases, They will help us avoiding digital logical procedure and information transfer errors because they are not digital readable, and they are providing an audit mechanism for the impact of change. So you can derive quality checks out of that. And it's nothing we have to reinvent. So what we have to do is to use what the already existing foundations are and define on top of that these use cases. So standards like ISO 9065, for example. We have heard that there are already existing use case platforms like buildingSMART, possibilities to exchange information like information delivery manuals, diverse methods of digital methodologies, and so on, and contracts, for example, like IPDs, integrated project delivery, lean principles. But we have to put them all together to make a project out of that, to define a name and to define a way how to succeed in that. And therefore we just status, or in our position paper status, that we need a strategic framework for an effective use case definition and implementation. It's not about only to define, it's only also to define and how we implement it into the construction industry. So our plan is structured in mainly around three pillars. The first one is the framework for use case integration. So we need a framework to integrate them. We need essential elements of data models, mainly driven by use case, to be named. So what is what we are really influencing? And we need a stakeholder engagement in use case definition and management. So we need the already existing and acting stakeholders in construction sector to identify that they have to do something to change their business into digital. And if we break it up and look just one step deeper, so our framework for use case integration, we have split up into main objectives, which is short-term and long-term. So short-term, what we want to achieve is developing a unified methodology, as we talked before. So sharing the same principles on how we define use cases. To foster interoperable solution and build a framework of consistent lifecycle service connection. Already existing solution, bind them together and get interoperability on top of that. Ensure use case to provide complete digital processing information. So a use case is only valuable if you get the 100% digital data to execute it. So we don't want to have 90%, 70%, whatever, and do the rest by hand. So per use case, 100%. And define clear responsibilities and identify essential platform functionalities we need for these use cases. The long-term aspirations are clear, so we want to promote adaptable plug-and-play solutions. So download your use case, configure the systems you have in your company, and work. And don't lose the time, configure that always by hand. Ensure seamless use case integration across life cycles. So it's not only about us and construction. We have to hand over our data, and we get some data from the design guys, so we have to hand over our data for facility management. Of course, once we have filled out this new world with digital information, you can use digital information to enhance decision making. Then you can start using AI-driven use case analysis and stuff like that. But you need this common defined platform. So the last thing is the stakeholder engagement in use case definition. Sorry. The B. So essential elements of these data models, mainly driven by use cases, are data model alignment. So data models are understandable between companies. We have a structured comprehension, so we know how data is structured. We have a clear idea about, or drive a clear vision about what is data integrity, because it's based on these use cases, how we use use cases. resource utilization, what people we need to do what. A formal compatibility which comes at last. So when we know what we go to transfer the information, then at last we can discuss about the format. By the moment we discuss a lot of formats, IFC or others, but we have to align the information level which is described before. And of course, the stakeholders in use case using those the use cases have a clear definition about well-structured use cases with aligned objectives. So a use case is always aligned to an objective. We do something because we have a clear aim what we do. Select suitable parties for use case management. So how we do that, we have to discuss in the market how we do this use case management, where we share these use cases, where we set them up, and how we discuss them. By the moment we want to have a comparison between single versus multiple platforms, hosting use case definitions, what would be the best? If we want to achieve a common understanding of what use cases are, how we will do that. And to outline necessary functional and organizational requirements to discuss with these possible platforms. So to come to an end, the status and recommendation for action in general. So we as construction industry members recognize the importance of user-independently establishing use cases. So it's not about a single company to do so, it's something we have to share in the market if you want to be able to work together on every construction site. And it's imperative. So if we accept that this is something addressed to the market, so the associations representing various stakeholders have to enter in that discussion proactively. So for the last years, we haven't done our homework in such industry, I would say. We have to enter that discussion, and therefore we are here. It's not only us, it's also all the other market participants. So it's not only the construction industry who have to discuss that. We have to discuss that with the architects, not with every single architect, but with the architect associations, with associations of engineers, with associations of facility management to implement these digital process changes. To endeavor this only can be successful with sharing common understanding. So this is what we are delivering to the discussion. So let's discuss what is the use case. Let's discuss a common strategy and coordinate an application of unified methodology. What is the methodology we will share? We suggest to proactive creation of one or more use case platforms. So there is one here in buildingSMART already existing. Let's discuss what are the necessary functionalities and organizational structures we need to make this platform really work for the construction industry and for all the others. And we are committed to proactively reaching out to individual organizations for dialogue, so we can also welcome and look forward to be approached by them for discussions. So either we address them or they ask us. So the status and recommendation for action with buildingSMART in particular, not only for the whole market, so why we are here. So as various anchor members are involved in buildingSMART at international level and or national sections, so chapters, we already share same thoughts and principles on use case. So we have had this discussion in the construction domain, construction domain of buildingSMART, and there is no difference. So we share the same ideas. There is a high degree of common understanding already. So of ENCORE, digital environment, but also with the construction domain of buildingSMART International, but also with national chapters of Switzerland, German, Austria, all the others. So there is a broad base already existing. This existing understanding is a perfect base for broadening this dialogue to include all ENCORE members and all domains and services of buildingSMART. So we don't want to have that only in a small group. So let's start to do so. So we see these consultations as a building block. So if we start as construction industry to discuss how the buildingSMART, it's not to stop there, but also to involve the other stakeholders like architects, engineers, representatives of clients, facility management to do that. So we are ready to start this discussion. So let's contact and start if you want. Thank you. I haven't seen the time, so I didn't know what's the time. So we have 20 minutes for discussion. Wherever is a question, yes.
Thank you so much for your explanation. For the UCM, use case management system as service, I'm sorry. ENCODE will be the organization which defines which project is good, right? And how do you gather the data and information, and how do you think about which is the good system to gather the data of the project? So this is my question.
Yeah, thanks for the question, because it's addressing a very interesting point. Who is buildingSMART? So buildingSMART are you, me, all the people here in the room.
Whatever.
Nobody of us working for that is paid by buildingSMART. So we are paid by our company. So you're paid for you. What company you are?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm Kentaro Tanaka from. Basically I'm writing on magazine as a writer. But now today I came here. Site engineering, one of the member of the site engineering on the booth. So the software vendor, the BIM software vendor. Yeah.
BIM software vendor. Okay.
Yes.
So what we are addressing here is we are asking the single stakeholders like software, construction industry, architects, engineers, to start. So a possible platform would be within buildingSMART. Discuss that as market participants, because of buildingSMART is giving us a platform of open, independent, and it's a good place to share the ideas and to have the common things shared. So this is the main reason. So therefore, it's us. It's not buildingSMART itself, but we in buildingSMART. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So we know about no one works without the benefits, so that who would be the beneficial to enter the data and gather the data to use as a use case, not use case so that is a stakeholder which uses it use cases, but also make the data as it.
Yeah, we had this discussion for 3 years in the company more. Because first of all, the people thought about, if we share use cases, we share our knowledge for nothing, and maybe it's better to keep that in our company, so we have a better position in the market. Maybe it's a good position to have all the knowledge in your market, but when digitalization is nowadays digitalization is based on connectivity. So we want to work together digital. So if we keep all our knowledge in our company, and we have 18,000 sites per year, and 18,000 sites which are composed of different actors, nobody will understand us. So if nobody will understand us, how we can achieve benefit of our perfect digitalization? So it will only cover our processes in the company, but to make a project, you need the performance of all. And therefore, we thought about what is the things we want to share, and what are the things which, even if we share them, nobody will interest, because the people are not interested in how we do the things. The people are interested in that they can rely on, okay, Strabag is doing his job digital up to this way, and then I get data in this package, and I can go on with my thing. How we do that internally. So therefore, we have a benefit because we can connect to our partners. This is the answer.
Okay, thank you so much.
To say it for software industry is the same. It's not the best in class software we are looking for. It's the best in connectivity. So if you have the best CAD system of the world, which is closed, So that we can have benefit in using that, but we can't connect it. So, yes. Okay.
So, thank you so much. It's really excellent presentations. And as we discussed these days and a number of times today, I believe we all believe that this is the future and maybe one of the most important tasks we have in the following period. So, and just from a top-down approach, where we are. So, construction industry in terms of project management is by far the most complex industry with most of the challenges in the world. And then construction phase of construction industry is by far the most complex, risky, challenging phase of the project. So when I was listening now, both of you, for example, Konstantinos, when you're putting all these things, it sounds very easy. But in reality, there are a lot of things which has to be overcome. And I would like to use this opportunity to invite everyone who can contribute with putting their own use cases in a platform, or as we discussed, we are very interested since there are several council members who are our big clients, so we are definitely very much interested to contribute in this project. I would like to also point out from the construction and compare construction with the IT industry. So in IT industry, people share a lot and are the most successful today. So that's what, when I discuss about this with Konstantinos, that's the vision. Of course, you don't need to share every trade secret or small detail, but as he said, even in 18,000 own their own projects, it would be a huge time-saving benefit and so on. And my question at the end is, what is a time frame? So let's say when you expect to have first results, and maybe one small suggestion, as we even discussed today, would be excellent now to go to some practical examples, maybe next time, just that you understand in a half an hour, and even an hour, you can come up with a very common use case and common ground. So really that would be also helpful for all of us to understand how in a practical level this works. But what are your expectations, and when we could have first results? Significant.
Okay. So we have obstacles, as we are complicated in construction industry, but also we have benefits. And we have differences in our industry. So if you compare, let's say, automotive industry with construction industry, to compare it like, let's say, Toyota and Mercedes, as we are sitting here in Japan and Germany. So Mercedes and Toyota, they have a strong competition, and they have their own processes, they do their own product, and this product is competing the other product. So usually they don't have too much points of working together. As I don't know how it's in Kojima, but in these 18,000 projects we do per year in Strabag, there's not a single one we do to 100% by ourselves. So we are always depending on the whole market. So the only benefit we have is if the whole production chain, even not only the production, but even taking in comparison or taking in connection design and facility management, will deliver a product to the client he is happy with. So therefore we need it for the client, but we also need it for us to do so. And if we once work together, so Kojima and Strabag making a tunnel in, let's say, Saudi Arabia, so we know everything about each other, because if we don't work very open and together to achieve a benefit, we will both lose money. So we never do that. So therefore, this is a benefit. So to come back to the time frame, yeah, the challenging thing is not being complicated. The challenging thing is being simple. The simple things are the most difficult, but because you have first to find the single truth of what is the single thing. You have to find the definition and then to start with that. So this is what we are starting today. So we're offering a discussion on that, and after these discussions, we will make a plan. Maybe that.
Diplomatic.
And we did some,
or should we define more?
and we did some easy examples. Around the Woudenberg case, you can isolate some examples and start, but it also doesn't make sense to continue and just dump use cases somewhere and continue with very simple titles. I do 3D rebar, and that's it. We are not making it easy to continue dumping, let's say, use cases on one location, which are not comparable, which are not expressing the aim. Maybe we should just start with a syntax that we get comparable things. And that's also the nice thing when you use the language models. So we asked an IT company to look in our data, which was not structured enough. And can you find comparable definitions? And then this is the German stuff, this is the BAM Netherlands stuff. And actually they're surprising, the language models can actually be very helpful in this stage, that we get comparable things. And that's starting with the generic pieces of the puzzle. I'm actually very optimistic that can be done quite easily. And maybe it will be more beneficial to a lot of projects, not even having all the technical stuff in place, but just that you're able to talk to each other and agree on what are we going to do in a digital way.
Okay, thanks. We have just a question from the audience.
Okay, so we've got a question from Sakao. I think there is no common way of thinking regarding copyright related to data around the world. On the other hand, it's likely that use cases will become copyrighted in the future. Who own the use cases?
That's a good question. Who owns the use case?
Yeah. That's a very good question. And I attended the technical room before the session. And then they said some federated model, the BIM model, should be divided to the multi-users, because some data was created by MEP company, and some are from some steel company. So federated company is a combination of the copyright. So that kind of thing should be discussed in this domain. It's a very big question. But I think that you share the document, and then there are the advantage in both sides. So if you show the data or some ideas file, the purpose to share is to enhance and spread all those ideas system to the public. And then the use from the user side, it's very good. There's some consistent use case. It's work under this system, and then you can see some use case of some specific company. So you download some ideas file and then get some data with this IDS and migrate their own system, internal system. So that's a very good win-win ecosystem. So if it happens that they will post that kind of data. So it's not only just the contribution but get some big advantage is some place of UCM. So it's kind of the marketplace, is my thinking at this moment.
Yes, in addition to that, I just want to remember what I explained about use case and solution. And now we have to amplify that use case, solution, and result. The result is the data. The solution is the tool you use, the methods you use to make the information, and the use case is just in front, saying what we are going to do. So it defines what information should be in your package that other people understand you. To give you an analogy to that, thousands of years ago, the mankind invented bricks, and then when they started, every brick, every production site of bricks had its own format, and then they started to build together big buildings, and then discovered that they don't fit because everybody has his format. Then they discovered that it may be good to be able to work together to define what dimensions of bricks we share. So then the bricks were defined. So this is how the bricks are done. And then every producer of bricks and every crafter using bricks was able to do whatever job he was asked for, either big or small, but it fitted. So who is the owner of the brick format? Nobody. So it's a market. So therefore, I just tried to explain that use cases is a common understanding of what we are going to do digital in the market. So there's not an owner, but there's somebody responsible for that. Who should be that defining that use case? So my understanding, the people who know about the processes where these definitions are used in the daily work should define that. So therefore, I asking strongly the associations of the stakeholders to start thinking of that. So if I would be architect, I would wondering why the Chamber of Architecture hasn't defined the role of the architecture in digital to have this definition for all architects. So the engineers, the contractors, the clients can rely on. And what does this guy in digital? And we have a lot of discussion about this information, who owns what. It's not about inventing new things. We don't want to share new information. We just share the information different. Up to this moment, the architect is doing a plan. In the plan, he drafts building, and there is information inside. So he transports this information via a schedule, via a plan. So all the information he is handing over is shared. So the only thing now he has to do is the same information in digital. So there's nothing new, because we already share that. So I think this discussion is going up and down, the owner of the information, but we don't change the information. We just change only the way of how we exchange the information. So therefore, I think it's not the core of the discussion. We should have focus on the discussion how we organize this digital work.
And maybe, Kostas, to add to it, it's all very serious, but I think we should also make it a little bit sexy and attractive to all the stakeholders and the guys on the project. So if you have let's say a boring collection of use cases somewhere to download and then let's choose for a project, I think we need really to also to imagine how will the deployment look like. So some kind of, sometimes I try to shock some people. I need Tinder for use cases on my project, so people can select and swipe. This is what I want. This is what I do not want, or this is what I'm able to do. The exploitation and the deployment is also key for this entire exercise, because if this If this is a boring theoretical exercise, it will take too long. Maybe that's also an answer to the question of the one of the people present in the room. How long will it take? It will take forever if we only solve this with technicians and forget the quick win deployment now, tomorrow on our projects. Even a list of 150 use cases, proper defined, will already save a lot of epic waste on a lot of projects. Because there we make agreements. Do you do BIM? Yes, no. Do you do 3D rebar? It has no meaning. And then we start specifying all the exchange requirements without a proper aim. We are working in the wrong order. So even having a list of 150 use cases would be helpful from day one.
Yep. So, dear guys, so we are on 17:02. So Laura made me a sign that we should look on the time. Is correct? It's up to 5:00 p.m. So I want to thank you a lot, Wilfred, for sharing your time with us. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for the questions. And please come back and let's start this discussion broadly. So you see there, you can find us via LinkedIn, you can find us via buildingSMART. Don't hesitate. Come and let's start the discussion. Maybe next time we have a better thing to present for Velikos or a direct plan when to do what.
Okay, thank you very much.